Welcome to ATI Pro Media. It's Monday. It's March. When the heck did that happen? It's March 3rd. Tariff set to go in March 4th. Brady and I are going to talk about that. I guess, is it going to happen this time? Is it not? Who knows, right? We got headlines saying any and every direction, so I guess time will tell. We got some flash sales. Crop insurance price is set. What type of coverage? Are we changing? Are we taking that ECO? Are we dropping it? Are we raising it? Right? Love to hear the different scenarios and what you think works best for your operation this year. And then also, it looks like the economic aid, right, that we talked about. We got it about 3 months ago. It was coming. It's set to come in March. I think it's going to be here. So with that, Brady, come in here. The other story I didn't mention, corn continues to try and find a bottom. Beans as well. Talk about a fall. I mean, March corn at 450. I'll let you quote up the markets, but March corn at 450. We're 50 cents. We're 50, almost 60 cents off the high, aren't we?
That's a sell-off. Yeah, the bleeding continues, definitely. I think we're back to pre-January WASD levels. So that Jan WASD bump, big surge there, giving it all back here.
Ouch.
All back. Ouch. All right, we'll go to the board and we'll quote things up here for you out of the gate. May corn down 3 cents, 466 and 3/4. May beans down 8.5, 10.17 and 1/4. Looking at new crop beans down 6.5 at 10.23 on your new crop beans. Soy oil is flat to a little bit weaker. Soy meal down 250 at 297.90. Looking over your wheat markets. Wheat, the only green I see on the screen in the grains, up 2 cents on the March, up a penny on the May in Chicago, 556.5. May KC wheat up 0.5 cent, 573.5. July new crop wheat up 0.5 cent, 586.5. No sixes there. All right, feeder cattle down $1.35 on the April contract, 271.62. Fat cattle are down 50 cents. April is at 192.275. Looking at your lean hog market, April's unchanged. May is down a nickel, 87.37. Crude's a little firmer, up 12 cents, 69.89 on your crude oil. Diesel market down a penny. Nat gas up 9 cents. Over at your equity markets, looking at the Dow, Dow's down 11 points. S&P down 20. NASDAQ down 97. Russell down 12. Bitcoin bouncing back 90,000, up 5,485. Gold's a little firmer, silver's a little firmer, and the dollar is a little weaker, down 96 points on your U.S. dollar index. Pay attention to that dollar, boys. That's a rundown of your markets here this morning. Oh, any silver linings in those? Wheat's unchanged, up a penny.
Wheat, oh man, is it a bad day when wheat's the silver lining? I don't know why I love the dog on wheat, but I do.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Oh man, all right. Sometimes all you can do is laugh. All right, let's jump into it. We got some good headlines. The first one, I think, we got a flash sale. 114,000 metric ton of corn sold to Mexico. Right? Is it right in front of potential tariffs going into effect? Who knows?
What's the irony of a Mexico flash sale the day before tariffs go into effect? Now, the true test will be: will we see one tomorrow, Connor B? That'd be the big one.
Oh man, yeah. So, well, let's save tariff talk. Let's go for a little bit. Crop insurance. We've got the final price, right? I talked a lot about it Friday because we were pretty close. A little bit weaker, right? We saw a pretty negative market Friday, but prices are set. $470 on corn, $10.54 on soybeans. So again, we pulled this up before. Looking at corn, right? We are almost, that says $469, but you get the idea. I'm not on my game. It's Monday, but very close to where we were last year, right? Within pennies, and then we're about a buck off on soybeans compared to last year as well. So 11.55, we're at 10.54. Yeah, so now we've got the numbers. Now you got a couple weeks before you can set your coverage level. Would love to know, are you sticking with the status quo? Or are you the type that takes out that 80, maybe 85, maybe 75, and that's what it's no change? Are you looking at any additional coverage? I love to talk about it, even though I don't sell crop insurance, right? I think it's very important part of a marketing plan, right? But yeah, so we've got our Feb average. Now we go from here, right?
Right, yeah. New crop decent corn futures 453.5, so significantly below where that insurance level is. Got to be tempting to go out there and sentiment driving the mindset of should I be paying up and getting that better value? Because a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't know, maybe I wasn't nearly as excited to pay up and get that better crop insurance level. But when you look at the board at 454 and that insurance level at 470, you know, tempting. Does it make sense? I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm, with crop insurance, with anything, it's going to depend on the operation, right? It's going to depend on where you're at, because I got to think a crop insurance decision in Central Illinois, it is night and day difference from you in Kansas or a guy in North Dakota, right? It's we've got different risks that we look at, and so I think it's going to depend on where you're at.
Yeah, even county to county, like we've talked about before here on the
Absolutely.
show. Are you on the northern edge of the county in the good dirt, or are you on the southern edge where the county average looks like better than you can achieve every year? So,
yeah,
county to county differences there.
Absolutely. So, I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about crop insurance. I use it as an opportunity. To me, crop insurance, it's a government subsidized put. It gets us a nice price floor. Let's, number one, make sure we know where that price floor is at. And then also, I think it's a good way to get the mind working on, price protection, revenue protection. And so it's a good conversation starter. So I'll be talking a lot about it. So throughout the next couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, bust out that calculator, crunch your own numbers, see where you're at, and know where that floor truly kicks in. But at the end of the day, when it's tied to your production, it's impossible to officially know where that floor kicks in at, and what price level you actually have protected. So, yeah, backs up your marketing plan.
Absolutely.
Right. So what do we got next, Connor B?
Okay, well, we had a couple questions about it last week. Has anyone seen the payments? When are they coming? Well, we got some news for you. Is that Secretary Rollins, the new Ag Secretary, says farmers should get that $31 billion in economic disaster aid by around mid-March. So she acknowledged broadly there have been a lot of questions about the money's release amid freezes on federal payments, but she said they're making great progress in getting billions of dollars in disaster and emergency relief out the door, potentially beating Congress's March 21st deadline for sending farmer payments. So you mentioned it last time we talked about this, that it was was it a 90-day window? I can't remember. But so the deadline, March 21st, she's hopeful it could come a little bit earlier, but it looks like it's coming in March. I think that's the story.
That's a couple weeks away, Connor B. We got to get moving on that if we're going to get it out the door and exceed expectations and get it done before March 21st. But I guess I like it. I like the sounds of it. That payment, that money means a lot more today than it did a couple weeks ago too. It looks like we need it now versus a couple weeks ago, feeling a little more cushy about where these markets were.
Right. The timing's impeccable where, 2 weeks ago, it was very much a bullish market. Now that it's the sentiment's definitely flipped, and it happened very quickly. It usually does. But yeah, so looks like before March 21st, hopefully by mid-March, you're going to be seeing something.
Yeah. All right.
Should we do it? We're going to talk tariffs again.
Don't say the T word. You can't say the T word on this show. Okay. That'll end up put you in tariff jail or something.
I need a synonym for tariffs, but I'm not that smart. I can't think of one. But anyway, so here's what we know is that tariffs are set to be imposed March 4th. We know we have an additional 10% on China announced. All countries, Mexico, Canada, China, Mexico has talked about having conversations about what they can do. I don't know if we push it back again. I don't know what the next step is. China has kind of mentioned that any type of retaliatory tariffs, they've hinted that U.S. agriculture could be in the crosshairs if we see something like that. And so I do have this. I always like looking at these charts, and this is just ag imports, right? What China imports, and this is from blue line is the USA, orange line is Brazil. And as you can see, right, 2019 was the trade war. 2018, 2019, and you can see how we dipped and we recovered fantastically going into 21. But we're on the lower end of that. So I hate to see any type of tariffs, anything that disrupts it. But I think the truth of the matter is that China hasn't been. I mean, they've been non-existent in buying corn. and they haven't exactly been gung-ho about buying U.S. soybeans. So I don't want to see anything, but I guess is the threat of tariffs, in our world, is it a little overhyped? Maybe.
It's a good comment. Excellent comment. If you're not buying, how do you tariff something you're not buying? How do you do retaliatory tariffs on something you're not buying? Great stuff, Connor. But sentiment drives the markets. And if you have a sentiment of, hey, we're going to slap some tariffs on retaliatory tariffs, does that dash the hopes of future business going forward? I don't know. We got a good Brazil bean crop out there. It's there. It's made. It's going to go out the door. It's going to get shipped on the bean side of things. Yep. Corn's the big question going forward. And are we going to have a good safrinha corn crop? Are we going to have a good U.S. corn crop going forward? U.S. is the number one game in town on that front. I look at Milo in my backyard. That's a big player going forward as well. But how do you put something on tariffs? What's the impact of tariffs on something that you're currently not buying a whole heck of a lot of? So to your point, Connor B., Mexico seems to be one of the biggest risks out there on the grain front with agriculture. But they need us just as much as we need them. So
yes.
Is it all negotiation tactic, right?
I mean, I would say so. It doesn't mean they're not going to be enacted, but it's very much been a negotiation tool. And great point. When we look at, Mexico being a corn buyer, right? When China disappeared, Mexico stepped up in a big way these past couple of years. So we don't want to see anything to disrupt it, but also with the talk of tariffs, corn, any ag products, they have not been mentioned, right? It's other things. So I guess even if we see tariffs, maybe we can be hopeful that ag doesn't fall in the crosshairs.
Yep. We can hope. A guy can hope in one hand, and I don't know what you do in the other hand. But
that's a good point. And that's the thing, right? Is that these tariffs, right? They're impossible to predict. It's we don't know where they're going to go. We saw this in February, and we're doing the same thing beginning of March. Are we going to do the same thing the beginning of April? Time will tell. So it's always important, right? Focus on your individual balance sheet, right? Are you getting hurt by D's corn staring right at 450, right? When we saw 470 just 2 weeks ago, that's the important numbers.
Right. And this is a testament, nobody predicts where the market's going to go and what's going to happen, but how unpredictable they really are, how much headline risk is out there. And, at the end of the day, if, you don't want to be reactionary with your marketing plan, be proactive with getting control, putting yourself in a position to defend your balance sheet. And, if you have lots of questions on what do I do today? Yeah, it can be dynamic and emotional, and any ATI broker can help walk you through your choices and try to position you for opportunity down the road, but to defend your balance sheet going forward as well here. So don't want to make light of the sell-off by any means and the impact it has to your bottom line, but this is why we do what we do every day.
Yep. Well said. Okay, well, that's what we got for headlines. I don't see any questions. Premium Friday, I just gave a quick update on, where we're at on crop insurance. And like you said, where, it's revenue based, so how it moves, given where we think yield is. I just tried to walk through that, right? Because if the Feb average is 470, that's not where we're getting, right? We got to take our APH, we got to take our coverage level. And so just giving guys, I was trying to, put that in perspective. Where can we expect crop insurance to trigger based on where our coverage is? Just walking through that. It was pretty simple.
That's good. It's applicable. Good refresher this time of year, especially when the markets are selling off. A guy can look at that 470 level and say, you know what, I'm covered. I'm sitting pretty good. But are you? Do you? Is it true? Yeah. Got to break it down and walk through it.
Yep.
Lots to talk about tariffs. Let's talk about crop insurance and economic relief here. I said the T word again. Hit me next time I do that. Weather, though. Watch South American weather. Looks like maybe there's some showers coming in the extended forecast and some good weather coming to key parts of production areas down there. We'll watch that planting paces, the safrinha corn crop. From the cattle front, not real dicey on the cattle front either. Kind of some pressure there as well. We had lower fat cattle cash trade last week. Holding out at the feed yard hasn't been a winning game unless you are hedged. Then you got a little better basis to sell into. That's a good thing. Maybe you're winning on that front. But fats versus feeders. Fats have taken the brunt of the sell-off, Connor. April fats are down $15 since their January 28th high. And feeder cattle, they're only down $6. We've had a $16 range in feeders, but we've bounced back on the feeder cattle front. So interesting trade going on there. I'm very interested to see as these wheat pasture cattle come off, how aggressive feed yards want to buy up and fill these pens back up, considering the cattle going out and what they're doing. LRP, if you're interested in LRP, doing lots of stuff on unborn calf crop, calves that are hitting the ground now, looking out further. You've got great levels. That, again, goes off the feeder cattle board out there in those deferred months. So good opportunities out there still to go get control, and a reminder that I can always manage coverage up, but I cannot rewind the clock and go protect a price you wish you would have in the past. So take a lesson from grain guys here and go out there and be proactive with your cattle front.
Yep. Well, sounds good. Okay. We'll wrap it up. We'll see, we'll see where we are Tuesday. I'm sure we'll have some headlines and we'll go from there.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Connor B. Thanks for joining us today, guys. See you tomorrow. Yep.